Hey there, students of the world. This is Wayne from Wayne Leashing's Piano Academy. In this video tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to spell chords. Did you know that you can spell chords just like you spell words? Let's dive right into the lesson. Okay, now every single chord has a particular quality. It can either be a major chord, it can be a minor chord, it can be a diminished, or it can be an augmented chord. Now, the quality of any of those chords can be altered by either lowering, which is flattening, or raising, which is sharpening certain notes of a chord. Now, one thing you got to remember is that all chords start out as major in their quality. And from there, we're going to build different quality chords. Now, I'm basically just giving you the basics so that you've got a starting point to have a lot of fun of creating different types of chords. Now, there's a few rules about changing the quality of a chord. An augmented chord is a major chord with a sharpened fifth. A minor chord is a major chord with a flattened third. And a diminished chord is a major chord and a minor chord with a flattened fifth. Each of these scale degrees have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when we play a chord or a triad, which is 3 notes, that's going to be 1, we miss 2, that's going to be 3, we miss 4, and that's going to be 5. And from there, we can actually create other qualities of chords. So a C major chord has got a 1, a 3, and a 5. Now I can play this anywhere else on the keyboard, a major chord. Here major is normally got like a confidence to it, and they normally say that the major is the happy key. Now in order to make a major chord into a minor chord, the rule is that you're going to lower the third. Now what's the third of a chord? 1, 2, it's the middle note. So there's my major chord. Now I'm going to make it into a minor. I'm going to flatten or lower the third. It's the third that's going to determine whether my chord is either a major or a minor chord. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's the third of a chord that's going to determine whether my chord's going to be a major or a minor. Now I can use any other note and you wouldn't know whether the chord's a major or a minor. Listen. But now listen to this. Can you hear that it almost gets sadder? A minor chord or a minor key is said to be the sad quality. Okay, it's got sort of like a sad blues sound to it. Now I'm going to change the middle note again, the third of the chord. What can you hear? It goes back to a major sound. So it's the third of the chord that is going to determine whether a chord is going to be a major or a minor. Okay, the next quality we're going to do is an augmented chord. Now remember what I said? All chords start out as major. Everything works from the major going higher or from the major going lower. Now let me explain. Here's my major chord again. Now I'm going to make it into an augmented chord. An augmented chord is a major chord with a raised fifth. Now what is the fifth note of my chord? 1, 3, 5. Raise the fifth, I get a G sharp. And there's my augmented chord. Let's do it in another key. Let's go to F major. F major, augmented. I'm going to raise the fifth. And there's my F augmented chord. Okay, now we're going to move on to the diminished chord. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting because you're going to see one chord can actually have major, minor, and diminished in the one chord, depending on what you do with the notes, whether you raise them or lower them. Now in order to make a major chord into a diminished chord, I've got to minor the chord first, which is lower the third, and to make it diminished, I'm going to lower the fifth. There's my C diminished chord. Let's go to G. Minor and diminished. Now you don't have to go through that process every time you play chords. If I want to play a diminished chord, what I do is I just play it. And there it is. But what I'm showing you here is we're analyzing the chords so you can see how to spell them, how to work them out. A major, A minor, lower the fifth, flatten the fifth, A diminished. Okay, moving on to the next chord, we're going to do a major sixth chord. Remember what I told you, that each scale degree is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now in order to make a major sixth chord, we're going to be using the sixth degree of the scale. Now in C major, the sixth degree is a A. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the C major chord, it's major in quality, and I'm going to add the A to it. C major sixth chord. All I did was I added the sixth. If I want to make a C minor sixth chord, what am I going to do? Go back to my original rule, and that is, in order to make a minor chord, I'm going to lower the third. This is the major. This is the minor. Okay, now moving on to C major 7 chord. I take my root chord, my main chord, and I'm going to add a seventh to it. Okay, if I play them all together, and there's my C major 7th chord. C minor 7th chord. I'm sure you've already guessed what's going to happen. My root chord is C 1, 3, 5. But we added on the 7th. Now to make a C minor 7th, we've got to lower the 3rd. But also in this case, we've got to lower the 7th. And there's my C minor 7th chord. Now you also get diminished 7th chords. But there's two types of diminished chords. You get half diminished or a full diminished. Now the half diminished symbol is a little circle with a line through it. A full diminished is a circle with no line through it. Now to make a half diminished 7th, we take our major chord. A diminished chord is both minor and diminished. You've got to have a minor chord in order to make a diminished chord. So there's my major 7th. I'm going to make it into a minor. How do I make a diminished chord? I lower the 5th. But now to half diminish it, what else am I going to do? I'm going to include my minor 7th to make it into a half diminished 7th chord. Now in order to make it into a full diminished, I use the same pattern, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to double flat the B flat, which means I'm going to land on the A. Now when I write this note, I don't write it as an A, I write it as a B with 2 flats next to it. Half diminished 7th, full diminished 7th. Now I'm going to make a dominant 7th, which is a major chord with a minor 7th. Now this is the chord that you see all over in your music. Okay, so you'll see a D7 or a G7, a E7, a A7. That's what you call a dominant 7. Listen to the difference. C major 7th. Now to make a dominant 7th, listen to the sound. It's a much more mellow, more smoother sound, less clashing. Major 7th, dominant 7. If this video tutorial helped you in any way to get closer to your goal in learning how to play the piano, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Like and then share with someone who might benefit from my piano tutorials. By subscribing, you will be helping me make more videos for you. Cheers and have a great day.